Hi guys, thanks for popping in. My name's Brianna Lynn if you're new here, and today I just wanted to talk about some wedding planning tips. I myself actually just got married a month ago, and I know how overwhelming planning a wedding can be. Just lived it, so I totally get it. But I know for me, when I was going through that season, it was actually so helpful to find these videos and hear what other people had to say who had just walked through that season, and just to hear their insight, it really helped me. And so I wanted to make a video today just giving back and compiling what I learned through this process. And so yeah, if you are about to get married, you found the right video, stay in, and I'm gonna unpack a little bit of what I learned. So grab a coffee and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to say, it's not really a tip, but it's just a fact, because when I first got started planning and just sitting down and looking at all of the things, oh my word, it was so crazy to see how expensive weddings are. I was thinking realistically, like, okay, probably gonna spend like 10-15K, but my oh my, venues cost more than that. Like, it is insane, the price of weddings today. And so I just want to give you that heads up that if you haven't started looking at and you're just getting into it, expect to be overwhelmed by the price. They are crazy. And so yeah, just wanted to throw that out, because I know for me it was insane just learning about all the different venues. But fear not, there are different ways to do things. My husband and I, we did go with an all-inclusive venue, which typically they do cost a little bit more. But for us it worked because we both work full-time in corporate jobs, and so we didn't really have a lot of extra time to spend trying to piece together different options and save some money there. I think it's a great option. If you have the time, go for it by all means. But for us, just because we do work full time, finding a venue that was all inclusive was so helpful. And so that is my first piece of advice, that if you don't have the time and you can spare the extra, go for it. I will say one thing about just doing an all-inclusive versus piecing it together yourself. We did look at piecing it together ourselves, and one thing we found was that honestly it did not cost very much more when you take into consideration everything that's included. It was almost neck and neck. Maybe you're saving $1,000. That's what we found personally. So I do want to emphasize that if you can spare it, and if you don't have the time to really reach out and coordinate everything, it is super helpful to go with the all-inclusive option. Okay, so I am not going to do a general price range for stuff in this video, but I might make another one talking more about the budget and what things specifically cost us, if you guys are interested in that. But today I'm just going to be giving tips because, again, I know how stressful this can be. And so yeah, so tip number 2, the longer you have to plan your wedding, the more money that you can save, especially when you're trying to coordinate everything yourself. Give yourself lots of time, because that is one thing that I learned. My husband and I, we got engaged in November and we got married at the end of April. So it was like a 5-month engagement, which is very, very quick. And originally I thought it would at least be 6 months. But for us, it was even quicker because we ended up changing our venue. So we thought we had everything planned, and then we totally scrapped it and went a different direction. And so yeah, it felt shorter. It felt like 2 to 3 months to plan just because of that. So yeah, I definitely recommend, if you have the luxury, give yourself more time. But I don't regret how we did it, because I think, for our situation, we wanted a spring wedding, and so it's just how it worked out. And it was beautiful and perfect, but I think I was maybe a little panicked, to say the least. Couple breakdowns here and there, but so does everybody, right? It's a stressful time. I feel you. So yes, definitely give yourself time if you can. Okay, so while I'm not gonna give like a general breakdown, I will say the priciest items, probably gonna be your venue for sure, especially if you do the all-inclusive, then no brainer, it's gonna be the venue. Photographer, those typically for weddings are pricey, but a really good investment. We did not end up doing a videographer, and so I was okay spending a little bit extra on the photographer because I knew the photos would be amazing. I actually had her do my graduation photos as well, and she's wonderful. And so yes, we were able to spend a little extra because we weren't doing a videographer. But yeah, I mean, those photos you're gonna have for the rest of your life, so I do wanna definitely recommend you to invest in a good photographer, because again, those are the ones you're gonna look back on, and you only have one chance to capture that moment, so might as well have some confidence in that. Okay, so my next tip is specifically for the bride. Be so honest with what you want. Do not, this is a hard one because I know for me, I definitely learned this the hard way. I was trying to maybe consider what others wanted a little too much, and so in doing so and making it more convenient for other people, I sacrificed what I wanted, what the vision I wanted was. And so that is why for us we ended up changing the venue, is because it was just the vision we had for our wedding was just out of touch with what we were doing at the moment. And so yes, I really advise that before you sit down and you look at any venues and you do the whole planning process, just brain dump. Literally grab a notebook, start writing everything down that you have in mind for your special day. Anything from little to big. It could be as simple as what color you want the napkins. If that's important to you, that's important to you, right? And so just brain dump everything, what environment you want it in. That was the biggest thing. So we're just gonna do a venue that was close to our house, but I really had this idea of doing it in the woods, and so that meant driving 3 hours up north so we could have this wedding in the woods. But it turned out beautiful, and it was exactly what I envisioned. And so yeah, that would be, honestly, if you take anything away from this video, please take that. Just be honest with yourself and your expectations. And then going off of that, be honest with other people in your life and the expectations you have for them. And honestly, like, I'm not saying that in a way to be unreasonable and putting these really high expectations on people, but sometimes, you know, I heard a lot, please let me know how we can help you, especially when I was telling people how overwhelmed I was. And I just wasn't able to really delegate and give that direction on specifically how they could help me in that situation. And so if people are asking you, how can we help you? Like, really be honest with them of where you're at and how you can let them in and take some of that pressure off you, because it's so important as the bride. And so, yeah, that is my biggest piece of advice for you. Another thing I want to add is just, you know, Pinterest can be a great starter when you're just starting to envision your wedding and really like nailing the details down. But don't fixate too much on that and on the perfection that comes with that vision, because it can be so easy to get swept up in the details of wedding planning that you kind of forget, you know, the point. And I know that sounds so silly, you know, the point is to marry your best friend, right? And so keep that in mind so that you don't get swept away with all the details, because there is so much stuff that is going on and moving at full force. And so, yeah, use Pinterest sparingly, in my opinion, just because you don't want to see something and then, like, for whatever reason, that is not your reality and then you're bummed. And so, like, definitely, yeah, use it for inspiration, but don't fixate on it. Okay, next I want to talk about things that took the longest to plan, because I had not a clue what I was getting myself into. And this would be really helpful if I could tell myself 5 months ago, like, hey, sit down and work on these things early because they take forever. And I'm not typically a procrastinator, so when I say they take a while, like, please know this is not me putting everything off last minute. Yes, we had to do a lot of last minute planning because we ended up switching venues. But the things that took the longest were the music, picking out what songs we wanted for specific things, like the walk down song, that's like a common one, right? Or like the recessional song, which is right after you're married, what you're gonna walk back to. Also the bridal or the party song, what they're walking out to for the ceremony. And then for the reception, you're gonna have to pick their song and then your song. And I just had no clue that there was so much thought that had to go into what songs you want to play. And you can kind of be as hands-on or hands-off as you want with that. Obviously talk to your DJ and see, what they recommend. But my husband Soren, he is really into music, and he actually has a music channel. I will link that below. But his genre is more like old classic rock. And so he wanted to be very hands-on with the music that we ended up picking for our wedding. And so it did take longer just because we kind of had this vision for the music we wanted to play. And also, before I end that topic, I think the song for me personally that took the longest to pick out was the father-daughter dance song. Oh my goodness. That was tricky. That was really tricky because honestly, like, I don't think there are a lot of good songs out there that really capture every father-daughter relationship, because it can be so different. There's so many different flavors, right? And so that took forever to pick out. But yeah, just so you're aware, music does take a while. The easiest one was our first dance, just because we knew that right off the bat. It was like our favorite song together and all of that. So yeah, just a heads up that music can take a while. Anyway, next thing that takes forever to plan is your guest list. Honestly, like, I would recommend starting that as soon as you start wedding planning, because that can be really tricky. Also, just to kind of figure out what you and your fiance want, the size, and if you want it more intimate or if you want everybody that has been a part of your life there, and just really communicate that, and then go through and pick that early if you can, because that did take a while. We ended up having more of a small wedding. Okay, I'll say medium, because we had about 80 people there. So under 100, which was nice, but yeah, get started on that. And then if you guys are going to do a choreographed dance, also start pretty early on that. Say at least a couple months in advance, if not more, because that does take a while, especially when you're working full-time, to set aside the time to not only pick the music, but also, okay, what is our dance going to look like? It took a while, but it turned out so good. I'm actually gonna post that as a short on this channel. So if I haven't already, stay tuned for that. But yes, the dance video turned out so cute, and it wasn't anything extravagant. When I say we choreographed our dance, I mean that Soren and I literally did it ourselves. We didn't hire a professional dancer to help us. We really just did it ourselves, which was so sweet. And that time together was so precious. We also used a lot of TikToks and Instagram Reel inspiration for wedding video dances. And so we did a couple lifts from there, but it was so fun. And if you are kind of contemplating if you want to do that or not, I absolutely recommend choreographing your dance, even if you're not at all like a dancer. Neither are we, but we loved it. And the crowd, our guests, they loved it. It was so sweet. And so yeah, if you're on the fence about that, I say go for it. Okay, so the next section I want to talk about with you guys is just some advice for the brides, because I know when I was in the thick of wedding planning, I literally just needed a video to reassure me and give me some wisdom and advice, just because I was way in over my head. And so yeah, I just want to reiterate to you, especially if you're in the thick of it or if you're really close to approaching your wedding date, please do not stress about the details. Just let it happen. Your day is not going to be perfect. Mine wasn't. There were a couple funny glitches that happened, but honestly, it just made it so much richer. And so do not over fixate on the details. Just let it go, let it flow. It's gonna be beautiful. Again, remember the main reason: you are marrying your best friend. It is going to be a beautiful day. Please take a deep breath and do not worry about all those little details that go into it. Also, I want to talk about, especially just with all the inspo, like I was talking about on Pinterest, and you can get so much inspiration from Pinterest or Instagram or social media, YouTube, and it's all so good, but please take it with a grain of salt, and don't compare your wedding with somebody else's, because again, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be little hiccups along the way, and you're only seeing one photo that captures that whole day. So please don't over compare your wedding with somebody else's or your vision with somebody else's, because yours is going to be so beautiful, and you don't need to waste your energy on comparison. It kills the joy. Okay, also, last piece of advice I want to leave you guys with. It goes so quick. I know so many people that had told me that before our wedding, but wow, like it really did go by, and I'm so grateful we have photos we can look back on and remember the little things and the fun things that happened throughout the night. But just be so present, like really take it in while you're there. And if something goes terribly wrong, like laugh at it. Don't worry too much. It goes so quick, and you really just want to like spend as much quality time with the people that you chose to invite as you can. And so my tip for you would just be to take it all in and breathe and have so much fun, be present. And yeah, that's what I wanted to leave you guys with. So thank you again so much for hopping in and watching this video. I really hope that you were able to take something out of it that was useful and helpful for you guys. Oh my gosh, my heart goes out to the brides out there. I know your day is going to go so well. Do not stress. Take it all in. It's going to be great. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. There will be a few more wedding related videos, so if you want to stick around, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. But yeah, thank you guys again, and I just hope you have a wonderful day, and cheers.